Welcome to the show, The Patriot Perspective. I am Alan Lee, your Proud Patriot, and in just a minute, we're going to jump into a couple different issues here with David Sumrall, and yeah, stay tuned right after this.
News, current events, politics, and everything in between. This is your number one source for finding out the truth. Never censored, never apologetic, and always patriotic. You're tuned in to the Patriot Perspective with the people's proud patriot, Alan Lee.
All right, thanks for tuning in. Again, I am Alan Lee, your Proud Patriot. If you've been watching anything in the news, you've been seeing the Rittenhouse case unfolding, and you know that there's, obviously we've been talking about a lot of other things too going on in the news. But today, I have a special guest. We did have the video going, but he's on the road right now, so the video was a little choppy. So we're going to try and bring his audio in, and if anybody sees anything or can't hear him, drop a note in the comments. If you get any value out of the show, smash the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell so that you don't miss any more of our shows coming up. And then when the show's all over, actually at 6:30, we have a special guest on, Elizabeth. She's a therapist. We're going to be talking about the different mental issues that have come up due to all these lockdowns and all these mandates and things like that. So stay tuned for that right after the show. The link to that show will be in the description for this one. And then when all that's over, head over to thepatriotperspective.com. You can pick up shirts like this one here, Sierra Golf, Sierra Papa, stupid games, stupid prizes. So while we're talking about stupid games and stupid prizes, let me bring on David Sumrall to the show today. So thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, it's good to talk to you. How you doing today?
Not too bad. Just been spending pretty much the whole week watching all these trials and everything come out. So yeah, I know that you're busy. You're on the road right now. Where are you headed to right now?
I'm headed to Louisiana. We're going to the Red Expo to speak about January 6th, political prisoners, and talk about what happened in D.C. But, man, you had the perfect segue. I think you might have to show backwards with the mental illness at the end, because I think that's where we need to start, man. This whole thing that the left is doing, we see every little thing from the prisoner situation for January 6th, the way they're treating these people, to the Kyle Rittenhouse thing. The left is demented, brother. It's to the point to where if you defend yourself like Kyle did, you're the bad guy. And what we're seeing is the FBI, being weaponized against the citizenry in all these cases. How many times have we heard, what is there, 100 now, of things that happened that the FBI knew about but didn't do anything about until afterwards? And then we find out with the Michigan plot with the governor and different things like the January 6th, we see these agent provocateurs and unindicted co-conspirators. What's going on, man? They seem to be the real bad guys now, and people are waking up to it. So it's just crazy, man. The whole world needs some mental help right now, it seems like.
Yeah, and that's like, I mean, it surprised everybody about the hidden footage. I mean, reports on CNN and Huffington Post, while they might not have the same surprise thoughts that we have, we're all wondering why that footage wasn't even mentioned ever. And playing devil's advocate, you wonder, did they not care to bring it out because they kind of didn't care about what happened because there were people out there looting and rioting, or were they sitting on it so that they could bring it out in trial and crucify the kid? So
good question. Yeah, here's what I look at it. They knew it set him free. They left him in jail. They left him in a bad spot. We see these narratives like the Jesse Smollett. We see the Covington boys. All these narratives that they let play out when they know. Look, the Covington boys, we knew that they had the video that showed that the other guy approached the kid, not the other way around. Nobody went. So we know from the beginning on all these things, the media's own. It's poison. It's all corrupt with the uniform. I mean, we don't see either side standing up for us anymore. They've kind of joined together. It's a real scary look for the people, because we see them, taking the FBI to school board meetings now. If you say, hey, I don't like what you're doing with my kid, you might get a knock on the door or a helicopter over your house. It's crazy. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, it's hard to say it's getting worse because it is getting worse, but it's so blatant that it's not necessarily getting worse. It's just getting more out in the open because these are things that you and I have been seeing for quite a while now. So you know, it's just now that it's blatant, other people are saying things are getting worse, and I think that, yeah, overall they're getting worse, but they're just getting more out in the open to the things that we've been talking about for quite a while now.
Well, if it doesn't get worse, it doesn't get better. I mean, look at any kind of addiction or anything, you got to hit rock bottom before you can start back up. It's one of those situations, unfortunately, where we sat idly by and sat on our hands and didn't vote our conscience and our faith and let these things happen and turn the other cheek and all these things. And now we're paying for it, and we've got to work that much harder to right what has been wrong for so long, and for us to, you know, turn a blind eye. It's just a matter of action. And if you love your country and you step up and, you know, you love God and you love your family, you're going to do what you have to do to, you know, protect our liberties and our freedom. And what we're seeing now is the blowback when you do that from our government and the weaponized FBI, the weaponized media. And, you know, it's from Bundy Ranch and Waco and every spot that you've seen. It's about control. The Patriot Act, 9/11, you know, pick something. And I bet you it has roots in that whole Patriot Act form of control over, now you're hearing Biden say it's the white supremacists, they're the terrorists. This is all what they want. They want to destroy America from within. That's how you do it. So it's that much more important than we realize. So it's got to get worse to get better. And the worse it gets, the more people see how bad it is, and they say, okay, I'm not going to sit on my couch anymore.
Right.
That's where we need to be.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping it leads to. Obviously, you know, we all hope that we didn't get into this situation, but we are seeing people start to wake up. Not enough, but I mean, it's definitely started to turn the tides where, you know, if the left hadn't pushed this hard and this blatant, there would be a lot more people not doing anything, not thinking anything. So that's the good part of it, is it's starting to wake some people up.
Well, the left is helping us so much, and they don't realize it. I mean, look at gas prices, look at groceries, look at lumber, what happened to building materials, look at schools, look at CRT, look at this whole vax insanity.
Right.
And you'll see the left is forcing themselves so much that everyone now is just turned off. Nobody wants to play that game anymore. And it's a disgusting thing that they've misjudged their population so badly. And we saw it with Hillary against Trump. You know, they tried to lie and say, hey, 99% of people are going to vote for her, all those lies. And they totally misjudged. Look at the HBO special on the January 16th.
Right.
Totally misjudged. Then we would want to see a real white supremacist, you know, cussing the whole show about Trump supporters. I don't understand where they thought that would come across appealing to anyone on any side, but it didn't. And we're seeing that they are so disconnected with the American people that the media is resembling more and more every day our politicians, because they're completely out of touch with us. They don't represent us. And when people see America, see, that's what bothers me. They look over here and they all they see is the politicians, the movies, the Hollywood, the movie stars, the music. And that's not us, man. That's not our morals, our values. That's not who we are.
Yeah, I mean,
and we're vilified the same way.
I mean, yeah, that you know, even with Hollywood, like the Nicki Minaj situation, someone who's got billions of fans out there gets a call from the White House under you know, standard procedure to check and see why she's not even saying anything against the vaccine, just saying, I don't want to be forced to take a vaccine to go to a party. I'd like to know more about it before I make the decision.
Yes.
And you know, and while some of Hollywood will always be what we know of Hollywood, you know, not everybody is out there. I mean, the president rating has been dropping, and it's showing. You know, I think the last poll was 73% of Americans don't think the country is headed in the right direction, and you know, the ones who don't use their brains about the election sit there and say, oh, all these people who voted for Biden are now changing their mind. And I'm like, well, all those people who voted for Biden were dead, and they didn't have anything. Right. So
They changed their minds a long time ago, and they're not going to change again. And that's what we're seeing. I mean, you can't change the mind of fraud. That was
right.
all the intention. That was what you got. You can't blame people now and say, oh, well, because those people never voted. We saw all 13 cars show up at this big rally.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's really the reality of where this clown show is at this point. But, you know, we're all about truth, man. StopHate.com. We put the first big documentary about January 6th out. It's called Writing History, RIGHTING History. It's free. It's right there on StopHate.com. It's in black and white. Got a picture of the Capitol. Just click on that. It's 37 minutes of truth. We show the 3 deaths that happened at the hands of the Capitol Police. There's been this big narrative of, you know, Trump people were violent and 4 or 5 people died. Well,
Right.
let's be real. The police attacked a lot of people that day. Things got out of hand, and some Trump supporters were murdered.
Yep.
And that's the truth. That's what the video shows. You can see for yourself at StopHate.com. And that's really what this Red Pill Expo in Louisiana is to talk about the prisoners' blood. And I'll just tell you real quick, we've talked to the families and prisoners and the lawyers, and, you know, the documentaries that have been made, we've given film to. You know, we're in the know in such a way. I was there. My employee is still under house arrest. I still have friends in prison. This has been for a lot of since January. No bail, no bond. Can't have good communication with your lawyer. Your food. Let's talk about the rations getting cut, and all you get is salami bologna or a hard-boiled egg in a piece of bread. I mean, these. And I know, hey, it's prison. Don't expect a steak. But at the same time, you're not supposed to have black mold or brown water,
Right.
or you know, unsanitary conditions. I mean, they're trying to get these people sick, trying to torture them. They've beaten them, they harass them, they scream and cuss and yell at them when they're having their dinner or singing the Star Spangled Banner in the evening, or when they're praying. It's a horrible thing. Shoving Muslim paraphernalia, you know, propaganda. Won't let them get access to Christian materials. You know, it's all kinds of torture, and people are unaware. Like you said, we just have to get to a point where, hey, don't sit around and not have that conversation because it's uncomfortable. This should not be happening in America. You know, I talked to Jeremy Brown, Extreme Beret. He is the one that filmed the FBI last November before that famous January 6th. They tried to recruit him to infiltrate one of the groups, and he said no, and he caught it on his ring camera, whatever. And so after January 6th, he published it and said, this is what y'all need to know. And so, you know, they came and threw him in jail.
Wow.
Because he was on the grass doing security for people. It's documented where he was. He never went inside anything. And they're trying to throw him in jail.
I think I saw.
Him.
Did he release those videos on TikTok?
Yes, he did. Yes,
Okay, so I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't
Wow.
sure who he was when I saw those. But I did see the series of videos where they came there and they were saying something about him being out there, and
That's it.
wow.
And they have denied his arraignment. They won't, you know. And that's the thing, guys. Once you're in, you know, the Gitmo that we have there
Yeah.
in either D.C., Florida, there's several around the country. You don't get out. They kick it down the road 60 days. Every time you see a judge, we need more discovery. We need more discovery. That's not right. There's the Speedy Child thing. There's, you know, all kinds of reasons, like misdemeanors. These people, it's like turning left, parading with the flag. I mean, being on the grass, doing things. Good grief. How about time served? Let these poor people go. You're just trying to get an agenda across, unless you're holding them as trades for later. Unless
Right.
you want to do hostage trades if things go bad for you. Maybe that's the political mindset of it. I don't know, man. It's really scary.
I mean,
for those people especially.
And some people look at it, you know, those who don't look deep into it and they think, oh, you know, they were there and they broke some laws and
That's right.
whatever,
Yeah,
even though the highest charges have been something that they shouldn't even be sitting in jail for anyway. But
No.
even, you know, so they're there, they broke some laws, and that's what the situation is. But you know, this situation, including the Rittenhouse case, these people aren't on trial. It's America that's on trial. It's our Constitution that's on trial.
That's right.
And and I feel like in the Rittenhouse case, it's one of those things where they're kind of setting up to see how these kind of situations may go for the future.
That's right.
It almost is a precedent.
Yeah,
Um, and
you're
and
right.
and
You're
we
right.
we have a question that came through, and it's where do you think that the prosecution is going in Kyle's case? Because the prosecution at times seems like he's actually building a case for Kyle, and then there's like, out of 100 things he points out, there's two of them that really look bad on Kyle. But at least in my perspective, and a couple other people I've spoken with, it seems like he's either not trying hard because maybe he doesn't think he can make some things stick, or he's got this super long game that I'm just not seeing. And normally I can pick these things out.
That's, and every attorney's different. We saw the same thing with the Covington boys, and we thought, how's that going to play out? It ended up, turning out really well for him. But hopefully the same thing. So I don't know. It's difficult because are you trying to drag them into deep water? Is there more that he can recover if he shows that it's, drug on? Is it for the public?
Right.
I mean, so here's the way I look at the January 6th thing, same thing. Is some of this being drug out longer to help raise awareness of the travesty? And the Rittenhouse thing, this is the thing. This is a kid that went to do the right thing for the right reasons and did it the right way. These people attacked him. They tried to kill him. He defended himself, and they had the evidence, and they threw him in jail cities, and they tried to burn the whole nation down. That sounds so familiar, and everyone just like you and me are so sick of it. This is the thing. So we just, the January 6th thing, we need as much help as we can. We've got the Department of Defense on stophate.com. It's /SHDOD. And it's the listing of as many prisoners as we can find. We added 4 more today. And these are just their fundraiser links. We don't touch the money or anything. We're just trying to raise awareness that they're there, and these are places you can come to find. There's prayer groups, there's letter writing, there's a lot of different ways people can help. There's commissary. They need clothes, they need food. So raising that awareness is so important for them right now. We can't let the government take these normal, average, everyday poor people. We don't have savings accounts. We can't just hire a $100,000 attorney at the drop of a hat. So they're trying to drag these normal people out into that deep water and threaten them and threaten their families and ruin their lives and their livelihood, their reputation, so that they'll take a cheap plea. They threaten them with 35, 40, 80 years. And then they say, but if you're tired of this and you want it to go away, let's go ahead and give you a 6-month plea, and it'll be over. You just can't own a gun anymore and can't do this, do that.
Right.
But the truth of the matter is, they've got guys in there right now with hair down to their stomach, beards down to their stomach, because they won't let them shave or get a haircut if they won't take the jab. So this is all kinds of levels of torture. People are unaware, because I guarantee if enough people knew about this, we would personally go down there and free these people ourselves. That's the way I feel about it. This infuriates people when they learn about it. And when you learn that it's your own government doing it to you,
Right.
that's it. So we dropped our documentary June 4th, which is so happened to be the anniversary of Tiananmen Square, where the Chinese government, mowed down all the. That's just the way it goes, right?
Yeah.
So this is the same thing that happened to our people. Pro-democracy, freedom fighter types, going to stand up for what they believed was a stolen election and make sure their vote was counted, and were mowed down, murdered, and jailed indefinitely. There is no, half the court dates next year, start mid-year. But how long are they going to keep these people in there for no left on red or something? It's just crazy.
I mean, have you heard anything dealing with any statute of limitations on holding them, and how many continuances, and you get the state gets 3, you get 3, the prosecution gets 3.
Oh no! Listen, this is new rules, new game. This is terrorism.
Yeah.
This is all that Patriot law crap. This is the setup.
But because and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not an expert on this. In order for them to hold them under the Patriot Act, they would have had to change the charges, and most of them are just being charged with trespassing and things like that. Wouldn't they have to change the official charges in order to do that, or am I wrong about that?
But you're right, and I'm not an expert either in that respect. But I'll tell you this: there are zero insurrection charges. We all know that by now.
Right.
No one person has been charged with insurrection anywhere, anytime for anything. Nobody's pled to that. That's not a thing. Secondly, the charges that they're putting on them, they're saying, look, these are misdemeanors: parading with a flag, being in a place you're not supposed to be, interrupting a proceeding, whatever. And if you don't take this plea deal for 6 months, we're going to make them felonies, and we're keeping you for 35 years. How's that fair? Can you do that? So they're moving the ball. They're changing the rules. They're play as they go. They don't care. They are trying to dominate the people. And listen, their whole end game, the FBI is not doing an investigation. They're building a case, right? Mm-hmm. They're just trying to collect the 1 million+ names. So all those people will lose their right to vote, right to travel, right to own a gun, whatever they can take from them. Anybody that liked one of the Give, Share, and Goes, we saw what happened with the crackdown on people that were sharing their fundraisers. They all got kicked off Facebook. And so we see that that's all being compiled informationally. The government knows who all of us terrible terrorists, Al-Qaeda members are. That's the way they're looking at us.
Right.
And that, we need to wake up to that, because they're putting us in the crosshair. They called us all domestic terrorists on January 6th. That's not fair.
No, and especially with hindsight of what's been going on in this country for the last 2 years, it's all crazy. But if January 6th and what happened there was the only type of craziness in the streets that have happened, then okay, it's something new. But when you have literally cities being taken over and police officers being ambushed and shot and killed, and threats on families, and police precincts burned down, and other Supreme Courts in different states being attacked, and then they say those are peaceful protesters and that they're just upset, and then January 6th happens and they call us terrorists, that just really blows my mind. And
Alex, you're right. And here's the thing, man, and here's the way I look at every single situation. Might make me different, I don't know. How about trying to be objective? How about trying to start with facts? How about get the evidence out? Everybody wants to make that quick jump before 24 hours or 48 hours. I try not to. I want to see the footage for myself. I want to know what happened before I, make an opinion of any. I really don't even like having opinions. I like seeing what happened. And here we are with January 6th. A lot of people, a lot of politicians compare the two, the summer of love and all that destruction, and hey, we went out and had one little tiny riot. No, we didn't. Look, those people went to literally redress their grievances with their government in the proper way. There were agitators there. We've proven this. We'll show it more and more, but there were agitators that messed with the police enough to get them to throw some grenades in the crowd, and there were bad guys there. I mean, that's just the way it is, and people get sucked into that, but you have to be objective. You have to say, look, we know that violence happened. I got in trouble with, some MAGA supporters because they say, hey, you didn't do anything to protect anybody with your film. Well, I'm not trying to do that because I'm not going to try to be biased.
Right.
I want to know what happened and why. If people got sucked in, let's find out why. But, the hang-up with people, and I'll just tell you this, the hang-up is, how do we perceive violence? Is violence breaking glass, or is violence for murders?
Right.
Because they talk about what a violent day it was, and then they say how those patriots broke those windows.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is the police murdered maybe four people, maybe 5 people. We've got real clear video of a couple of those things that are just going to blow people away when they understand what's going on.
And when it was going on, I was actually supposed to be in DC for that, and I didn't end up making it up there. And so I was live streaming a bunch of different live streams of different boots on the ground that we had, and live streamed the whole thing as it was coming out and was giving commentary. And then mysteriously, 2 days later, YouTube removed the entire live stream.
Wow.
So like eight and a half hours of real live footage of what people were actually seeing, all gone.
Wow. I tell you, that's amazing, and that's what we see. That's what we see every time. We've seen some of these social media people, leaders, heroes like Philip Anderson, He's in our video too. He was holding Roseanne Boylan's hand when she died, and,
Yeah.
and he lost consciousness. And he's one of those guys that when he had his incident a couple of years ago in California, the Antifa knocked his teeth out, and he noticed on the social media, all his channels, everything was gone. It was a strategic hit. Google had removed all the good things about Philip and replaced it with, all the bad links, everything. Just immediately, there's that connection with big tech that we've been tying together and proving for several years. And people think, oh, you're just talking about social media. You just lost your Twitter account, and it's really so much more than you
Yeah.
can't use Uber. You can't get a ride. You can't eat. You can't bank. You can't travel. You can't do a lot of things. And now those same things are happening to these January 6 people. They can't fly. They can't go to the VA campground or the VA base. They're on terrorist watch lists. And we're talking first responders, ex-military, just regular folks that were on the grass not doing anything wrong, but their phone got pinged by this government, or their bank account got pinged by this government. And these businesses go right along with that. We need to know who these people are and quit doing business with them.
Yeah, half the banks were just volunteering people's information.
Yes.
They weren't even asked by the FBI. They just said, "Oh, by the way, here's a bunch of records. These people were in D.C. on that day."
Because they've all been fed this whole, they went with the sole intention to go and burn that place down and hang and kill every politician in it. And go watch our videos. We have the proof they're looking for with Zip Tie Guy and his mom. We show them find the zip ties on the ground. We show them walking in with him with mom in his arms, protecting her, walking up. We show how they found the zip ties and picked them up and hand them to a cop. Why is he Zip Top Guy? Because they found a picture of a guy with zip ties in his hand and said, "Oh, he's that guy." This is how this works.
Right.
And if people are too dumb to figure that out, they're not on my team anyway.
Yep.
I just hope that more and more people wake up to the reality and are willing to put $5 on some prisoner's account, or to say something when they have an opportunity, or to call their congressman. There's a list on our website. You can go find your senator, your congressman, whatever, phone number, email, all that, contact them. Tell them you're just sick of it. Tell them you're done and that they won't be in office next time if they don't. I mean, we've got to do something, people, and doing nothing is not going to get us anywhere. I can promise you that.
And they can get all the information on how to do all that at stophate.com, right?
Yes, stophate.com. There's a bunch of stuff on there. You can go to /J6. You go to /SHDOD. There's several things. Get on there. You can contact us if you have any questions or issues, or want to partner, team up, and help us out. We're all for it. You can send videos. Listen, if any of your audience has stories, witnessed anything, has videos from January 6th, send them to tips@stophate.com. We go through all the footage. We're working on another documentary. We're trying to expand the first one. Go check the first one out, Right History, 37 minutes. It'll blow you away. Please share it, download it for free, share it with all your friends, and let's just spread this message and get our people free. That's job one right now, and expose cases like the Kyle Rittenhouse thing for what it is, and hold the FBI and the government accountable as we the people, the way it should be.
Well, I agree 100%. Thanks, David. I know you're out there driving. You said which conference are you headed to?
This is the redpillexpo.org. There's a link on stophate.com/redpillexpo, or just on the front page. And it's a true thing. Dr. Shiva, Dale Bigelow, Alex Newman, a lot of really good speakers. I'm always blown away when they invite me. I'm just a normal guy with a good story, I guess. But, being there and being active has its advantages and its disadvantages. The FBI has been to my house too. It's not fun dealing with these things. But I tell you, we can't live in fear anymore, people. We've got to go to these events, go to these functions, support them. Listen, the Red Pill, real quick, you can get a link and watch it live. You don't have to attend in person. Just go to stophate.com, click on the big red microphone link there, and there's a virtual link. I encourage people to watch that and share this information. It's going to be very revealing this time, because we've proven everything from the first documentary and really taken some deep dives on some of the key players in the government side.
Awesome. Well, safe travels. Thank you, David, for coming on the show, and reach out anytime with any updates, and I'll check in with you as well, and we'll make sure we get all those links in the description, and I'll send it out in an email for you too, because we definitely need to do something, because it's so easy for, I mean, just anybody to get kind of lost in the shuffle in jail. And it's another thing when they're trying to lose you in the shuffle, and there's so much going on that it's easy to kind of move on to the next thing and the next big fight.
Yes, it is.
And while every fight is important, we have people sitting in jail away from their families who are completely innocent. So it is something
every single day. Every single day. Haven't had a day off yet, people. So bear that in mind.
Yeah. Well, thank you again. Safe travels, and we will probably talk soon, and hopefully with better news than we've had recently.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I look forward to it. We will be in touch soon, brother.
Take it easy.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining this show. Now, in just about 30 seconds, if you go to the description, or if you just refresh the YouTube page, I'm going to be speaking with Elizabeth, and she is the host of Liz Live, and she is also a therapist. About a year ago, maybe-ish, I was on her show a couple times right before the election and then right after the election. So, definitely stick around for that, and we will see you in just a few moments.
News, current events, politics, and everything in between. This is your number one source for finding out the truth. Never censored, never apologetic, and always patriotic. You're tuned in to the Patriot Perspective with the people's proud patriot, Alan Lee.